Let's take them back. Let's take them back into that environment, to the depths of that environment, the details of that environment, because the devil's in the details, and they really need to be made aware that the devil does exist in the outcome of their choices. When I say they, I'm talking about the young people who are following in the footsteps of people who walk the walk, as you have, right? So this stood out to me. Would you mind describing? And I know this is sensitive for you, and I'm sensitive to that, but I believe that this is really something that helps to drive home just the depth of madness that a person subjects themselves to when they make the kinds of choices that could lead them to prison. Would you mind describing your involvement in an incident with female corrections officer Adela Maria Esposa?
Yeah, yeah, no problem. It's you know, may I just go back a little bit?
Yes, please.
It's being sentenced, knowing that I had 8 months left, and now I'm in the
Mhm.
back of a correctional car going to DVI, and I'm sent to Vacaville, and I'm in the boxing program there. I was the captain's clerk. I was typist. I'm boxing. Life is, I'm working. I'm surviving. And one of the officers tells me, "Hey, can you keep an eye on? She's her first day on the job. I'd like you to keep an eye on her." And I was in the auditorium fighting that evening. They had a boxing program. When I went back, I was pretty banged up. Went to take a shower, and I heard a woman scream. And when I came out the shower, the first person I saw was Charlie Manson. And Charlie was looking at me like, "Come on, champ, do something." Everybody was, maybe 20, 30 inmates were around the office yelling and screaming because two inmates had her on the table. One was ripping her clothes, her blouse and her bra off. The other one was fondling her breasts. And man, I just couldn't deal with it. I thought of my sister. I thought of young girls, and so I just went in there and I made them disappear. And I carried her out into the hallway. And then they jumped on me because she was unconscious, thought I did it, threw me down the tier. My legs got caught up, ended up getting knee replacements. And when she did come out of her state, she told him that I saved her life. And that is sincerely the time when my life changed. When my life changed. And
Okay, so
it changed for the good.
um, let's get into the particulars of that, because I'm aware of the things that you didn't mention, but the people who are watching this very likely aren't aware of the things you didn't mention in that particular situation. So when you said that you made them disappear, you are a trained fighter, not just in boxing, but you also trained in martial arts at a young age with a renowned martial artist. So you handle yourself very well, right? And you were able to get these two guys off of this woman effectively, right? But my question was, I mean, you'd been locked up, you'd been in the system, like you had to know that even under these extreme circumstances, helping a CEO could put your life in danger amongst the prison population.
I didn't
I
I
mean,
didn't think of that. I thought of
there
my
were other guys standing around
yeah, but
and watching it happen, and
they
they
were
didn't
in
choose to jeopardize. Why'd you choose to jeopardize yourself?
they were in that life. Half of them were high. It was S unit. It was a psych unit. So I didn't use martial arts. I didn't use boxing. I picked up an old metal mop ringer. I caved one guy's head in, and the other one I beat with the phone until they were both laying in a puddle. And then I
Old school
grabbed them.
phones.
Yeah, the old
Old school
20
phones. Like I
pound.
don't want them to
Yeah.
think that you hit them with a cell phone or
No.
them old school phones that we grew up with. Them things was the things you used to have to stick your finger in and they
Yeah.
go and if you mess up, you got to hang up and do it all over again. Them things weighed like 15 pounds.
And I beat them both with that because they were so medicated on Thorazine and Stelazine
Oh boy,
that they didn't even. I punched them and they smiled
zombies,
at me. So
zombies.
I had
Hmm.
to do it a little bit different. And yeah, I understand the repercussions of it, but I never. Do you think about a fire when you're running into a fire? Do you think about You
Assuming you're a
see,
person who would run into a fire.
yeah, you see 100-pound girl on the table getting beaten and raped. I mean, come on, man. What man is it going to
Yeah,
say enough? I mean,
right.
come on, man. If I have to
That's right.
pay for that, the retributions for that, well, so be it.
So the interesting thing is the situation that you put yourself in with the prison pop. That was one thing, but after you were able to get these guys off of her, you picked her up, you put her back together, situated her clothes and gave her dignity back to the degree you could under the circumstances. And then you picked her up and you walked out and you went out of the dorm, closed the door behind you to make sure that that they didn't get out behind you. And then you walked up to prison staff. They saw you holding this woman and they immediately attacked you.
They beat me
The
for
prison staff, the
yeah.
corrections officer, they attacked you.
They took turns beating me. They took turns beating me. I didn't even feel it anymore. It was all a blur. And the same ones that beat me hours later were telling me how sorry they were. But yeah, they beat me till she woke up. And then when she told them the story, the whole scenario changed.
But it was a while after that. Like from what I have picked up. So first of all, you said the thing about your legs getting caught up as you were being pummeled by the corrections officers, and your body went forward and your knees went backward. So your knees went the opposite way that knees are supposed to go. And that caused you to have knee replacement, which is extremely painful. And I mean, it's excruciating pain. And they still put you in the hole. Nobody reported that you had participated in this, and that's why you were in the hole. Nobody reported that, like Miss Esposa's upper higher ups, they never said anything, including the person whom she had told that this particular inmate that was involved in the incident, in her attack, TM, he was referred to. She had told him that, she had told her boss, look, this guy's acting very strangely. He's making me feel very uncomfortable. And apparently the guy spoke to the guy, TM, and he didn't feel like TM was a threat. So he just went on ahead and said, nah, it's cool. He's good. And that is exactly the guy who ended up attacking her. Now, he was aware of the situation prior to it becoming a situation, but he didn't say anything after the fact. About you putting your life on the line, and they threw you in the hole, had you in the hole. The young lady, of course, is traumatized, right? So it was a while, like a couple of years, was it, before
I got a
it
plate
was
put in
made clear?
I got a plate put in my head. What happened was TM, they transferred him to the same prison I was at 2 years later. And I was coming through the turnstile, and one of his boys stabbed me in the neck. That's why I still wear this. And the other one hit me in the head with a curling bar and put a plate in my head, opened up my head. And I
At the
sat
same time. So you
at
got
the
hit with
same
the
time
curling bar,
and
and when you got
stabbed.
hit with the curling bar,
Yeah,
then the cat came from the other side and
yeah.
stabbed you in the neck.
They were trying to
In the
take me out.
neck.
Yeah,
Both death blows. Those are both death blows. They're dependent
yeah,
on one another. Those will kill you.
yeah. But then I sat in the hole after I got the plate put in my head, and they did an investigation. They said it was because of gangs and drugs and gambling, and I told them about saving the life. And what people don't realize is back in those days, there was no computers. Everything was hand notes. There was no internet. So in the summation, they said, Miss Esparza said, I thought Miss Mazzone did it. Miss Mazzone said, I thought the warden did it. And it
When you say did it, you mean
put
told the truth about what happened. Made
they
official
should have
report
did
about
what
what
they
you
should
had
have done
done.
as soon as it happened was an accident report. And they should have
Right.
put that this inmate saved the life of, and that would have been in my file, and they would have never sent that inmate to where I was at. So what happened was I saw the inmate, and instead of going to administration, I just said, you know what, I'm gonna deal with it. If he's gonna come, I'm gonna. And they hit me. They got me slipping, and yeah, it was something. It was touch and go there. But then they did the investigation, And I received Christmas cards from her for the next 20 years because she
That's
felt
awesome.
so bad, Mrs. Sparza. Um, yeah, it was, and I don't regret it. I don't regret helping her. I don't regret it today. I would do it all over again. Then I filed a lawsuit against the Department of Corrections for uh, for a few dollars, and they said if you drop the lawsuit, we'll send you to any state you want to go to, minimum security, and you'll never have to worry about prison again.
And is that how you got to Nevada?
I picked Nevada. I picked G Nevada because they had a boxing program. Because Walter Luster, the warden, was also an official for the State Athletic Commission in Nevada, and that's when I started bringing celebrities into the prison. And yeah, I chose G Nevada. Um, and it was just, you know, I try to tell people, and it's odd, but it's what I feel. It's not what I don't care about what anyone else feels. I live this life.
Exactly.
You can't. What kind of it would have haunted me today to know that they raped her or killed her, and I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. I mean, that's somebody's daughter. That's
Yeah.
somebody's child. That's somebody's wife. If you want to fuck with me, you're a man. We could go all night. That's you man thing. But I
Yeah.
believe, and I'll keep it to I die. I believe that no woman and no child should ever be hurt for any circumstance.
Old school rules.
You know, when I see these dudes on TV, these youngsters just flailing on girls, I'm like, damn, dude, really? It just breaks
Yeah.
my heart. You know, it breaks my heart.
Yeah. Or that can be directly attributed to the fact that there was so many people from, your and my generation. I mean, there's only a few years between us, and a lot of the men who subscribe to the ethics that you're speaking about were removed. They either got strung out, they got knocked off, or they went to prison. A lot went to prison, right? The prison industrial system complex, it grew exponentially during this period, during the mid 80s going forward, and so a lot of those kids just did not have an example of a man, an actual
Well,
man.
my
You
brother,
know what I
I
mean?
saw it in the 70s while I was in prison, the late 70s, early 80s. I would see kids coming in 18, 19 with life without sentences and didn't even realize it. You know, they were a single parent raised from a woman, had no morals, no scruples, nobody brought them up proper. You know, I sometimes say I'm the last of the Mohicans because when my generation goes, there ain't gonna be too much left. But
That's a fact.
I still believe that that changed my life. Saving her life saved my life because I was able to get out of that prison California mentality. I was able to go to G Nevada, receive my associates, receive my bachelor's, you know, found Boxers Against Drugs, contacted Emmett, Daryl Strawberry, Eric Davis,
Yeah.
all the
Let's.
fellas. They all came
Yeah.
to the
That's
prison.
incredible, bro.
Oh, that's love, bro.